passed in the House and the Senate last Wednesday night. That's great news for us because the ATP-DEA, the Indian Trade Preference Drug Eradication Act, was attached to the Colombia Free Trade Agreement. This passage allows us to have the duty-free access again that we've had for the last 20 years, but that expired on February 12th. It allows us to have that duty-free access again. The good news is that the Colombia Free Trade Agreement, once it is implemented, will give us permanent status, which means we don't have to renegotiate and get the extension every 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. So that's great news. Now, to the nuts and bolts. The ATP-DEA was attached to the Colombia Free Trade Agreement, and it gives us duty-free access again, starting with February 13th, or retroactive to February 13th through July 2013. This does include Colombia and Ecuador. I know that there's a lot of people that were questioning whether Ecuador was included. It is included. So it gives duty-free access again to Colombia and Ecuador. Because this was extended, it does mean that there's retroactive, which means it goes back to February 13th. Therefore, the government will refund the money to the importer of record since February 13th. Now, still today, we are still paying duties. The way that the agreement was written was that duties will not stop until 15 days after the president signs the agreement. The agreements will be signed this Friday, tomorrow, in the Rose Garden at the White House. So luckily, we now know that around November 5th, there will be no duties charged any longer. So, the main question, of course, everyone asks also is, when are we going to get the duties back? That's a good question. I have been working with the government for the last 6 weeks, even before this was passed, asking them to give me an idea of where we're going with this. How are we going to redo the refunds? We know how it was done 10 years ago. We just hope that the government is a little more advanced than they were 10 years ago so that we as importer of records don't have to go through that process. Wf&Fsa is having a meeting next Wednesday, and I have invited some of the top personnel from Customs and Border Protection to attend the meeting with the push for Wf&Fsa to get that information first. So hopefully the importers will have that information, or at least a good idea next Wednesday of what the process is. Now remember, this is the government. So even if next Wednesday we have an idea of the process, it's not going to be overnight. It will take time. Last time it took months and months, even for the government to just reconcile what we had sent them. So I'm asking you to be patient, because the importers will file the paperwork and file the information as soon as we know exactly what needs to be done, and the refunds will come as soon as the government gets them to us. Now, each company had their own agreements with the wholesalers or their customers, so you'll have to contact your importers or your importer of records to determine what the determination is of going forward. So I hope that this gives you a good idea of where we are, what has passed. This is great news. It gives us permanent status, but we do have these few things that we have to get through first in order to get the money back into the industry. I think it'll be a great infusion into the industry, and I know the importers are